Halloween decorations in the background, and I'm gonna go ahead and post this to the Telegram groups and see if you guys want to check out the stream. So glad you guys are hope you guys are doing well. Hope all's well on this Thursday. It's late Thursday in South Africa. So just hang on one second. I'm gonna go ahead and get these stream posted to the Telegram groups and go ahead and get that tended to. All right, hope you guys are doing well. Hope all's well. And I'm first going to talk to you today about what's going down in the African nation of Eswatini. Cameron ZA says, hey, Brett. Hey, Cameron, how are you? What's going on? Eswatini right now is having a lot of pro-democracy protests. There are a lot of people in Eswatini, particularly young students, that are demanding free education, but they're also demanding more freedom, and they're demanding that... Cameron today says YouTube sent out a notification. All right, well, thank you very much. Some people that do watch these streams, most are subscribed, but some aren't. So I'm going to go ahead and post the link to various Telegram groups to just in case. Now, with that being said, it is... YouTube has been nice to me. I will say this. They know I'm moderate conservative, but YouTube has been nice to me. YouTube has I've not had any issues with YouTube. They've not tried to cancel my videos. They've not tried to threaten my channel or anything like that. Now, I can't say the same with Chris, and I can't say the same with Ronaldo, but YouTube has actually been pretty generous to me. They know I don't have a lot of leftist views. I have some liberal views, but not much. But they have, like I said, they've been good to me. So, but like I said, I only have a little bit over 1,000 subscribers. I believe it's 1,030 last time I checked. Ronaldo has 118,000 subscribers, and Chris White has over 4,500 subscribers. So if I get more of a subscriber base, things may change for me. So glad YouTube sent out a notification to you guys. So thank you guys for being here. Look, Eswatini's is just having a lot of pro-democracy protest right now. The Mswati III government is trying to stand firm. They have banned Facebook Messenger, and they've also banned Facebook in general in their country. They've encouraged all the mobile cell phone companies that have contracts with them to temporarily black out the Facebook Messenger and to temporarily black out Facebook in general. Now, I firmly believe it's time for democracy to come to Eswatini. Mswati III lives lavishly, has about 10 different BMWs and more than one mansion, while over 50% of Eswatini's population live on less than $1.25 a day. Cameron Zeta, you said you only have 72 subscribers. You'll get there. Just keep growing your channel and keep making videos, and it'll eventually, you'll get more. I firmly believe that. So right now, it's hard to know what's going on in Eswatini, but the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, sent an envoy to Eswatini, and 90% of Eswatini's imports and businesses depend on South Africa. So like it or not, South Africans, what's going to happen in Eswatini is going to affect you guys. So the South African government, as well as governments of Botswana and also Namibia, and I think Mozambique as well, have sent envoys to Eswatini to try to de-escalate the situation. The Southern African Council of Bishops in the Catholic Church have sent bishops there to try to de-escalate the situation as well. But the students are tired, and rightfully so. I mean, most Eswatini people live on less than $1.25 a day, and Mswati III lives very, very lavishly. And while Eswatini does have a parliament, the parliament is nothing more than basically a rubber stamp legislature for King Mswati III. Now, it has changed. There have been some members of parliament that have spoken in favor of the democracy protests and have refused to condemn them. They were members of parliament. Mabuza was one of them, not kin to David Mabuza, the deputy president of South Africa. As far as I know, he's not. And I cannot remember the other one's name, but they too have been detained without probable cause or without a warrant or anything else. And Amnesty International is calling for the Mswati III government to release those two members of parliament as soon as possible. But I highly doubt the Mswati III government will do that. The United Nations has also condemned the actions of the Mswati government. Right now, all schools are closed in Eswatini because the schools are a big place for these pro-democracy protests. First, the Eswatini government had sent the army in to try to quell these protests, but when that didn't work, peaceful protesters were being arrested. And when that didn't work, they shut down the schools. But rumors are there are as many as 250 Eswatini residents that have been arrested. But right now, Eswatini has shut most of its borders, and a lot of information. They've blacked out a lot of their social media too, so a lot of information cannot be getting to and from there. Even though they are allowing foreign envoys to come and talk with their government. They haven't completely shut down their borders, but they've shut down a lot of it. So that's basically what's going down there. All right, we'll talk about the South African elections, the 2021 South African elections that are happening November the 1st. If you're old enough to vote, please go vote, okay, if you're in South Africa. The only way the ANC can get unseated, one, is for you guys to vote. Two, don't vote for the ANC, but you need to vote for a party that has a good chance to unseat the ANC. And at the moment, the Democratic Alliance is the only one that has the best shot of that. I know there are things that I don't agree with the DA on. The DA squandered a major opportunity in the national election in 2019 when they let Mmusi Maimane run the party, and he used a lot of some anti-white racial rhetoric. And then try to run Helen Zille out of the party. Well, the DA lost a lot of their traditional voter base, and that's why the Freedom Front Plus gained 6 seats in Parliament. And it took the DA forever to address the farm murders issue. But that's a thing of the past. The DA has condemned the farm murders, and Mmusi Maimane is not part of the political part of the Democratic Alliance anymore. He got ran off. And so the best chance right now is to vote DA. There are some things that Action SA and Herman Mashaba have done in Johannesburg that I've liked, and I think they're going to do well in Johannesburg, but I cannot trust Herman Mashaba, not just because he left the DA. It's not on that, but when the DA told him to quit working with the EFF, he ignored those orders and kept working with number one. Number two, when the DA, even with Mmusi Maimane, had condemned the land expropriation without compensation, Herman Mashaba refused to do so. So I would not vote for Action SA simply because I cannot 100% trust Herman Mashaba. And I hate to say that, but that is what's going down with Action SA. But Action SA is expected to pick up some votes. They're expected to do pretty well in Johannesburg, and they're probably going to take some votes away from the Democratic Alliance unless something changes. So please go vote. If you're not going to vote, you're not exercising your democratic right to go vote. Just vote for the party that you hate the least. If you hate all parties, vote for the party you hate the least. But you need to go out there and vote and voice your concerns and get the ANC out of power. The only way South Africa is going to change is if the ANC is out of power. They've had since 1994 to run this country, and they have ran South Africa into the ground. Okay? They've ran South Africa into the ground, and you can talk about Nelson Mandela Bay. Nelson Mandela Bay was ran well until the DA got ousted from there. The reason that sewage leaks and some potholes are still going on is because when the DA retook Nelson Mandela Bay, the government that ousted the DA but then got ousted themselves, they had Nelson Mandela Bay into almost into millions of US dollars in bankruptcy. So the Democratic Alliance had to fix the budget first before they could fix the potholes, before they could get the proper budget to fix the potholes and to fix the sewage leaks. And that is what's going on there. And so it's not the fault of the Democratic Alliance with that going on. It's the previous government. I mean, the previous government, before the Democratic Alliance retook Nelson Mandela Bay, they didn't even have grass cutting contracts set up with countries. And there was grass that was knee-high tall. I mean, that came up to your knees, which was ridiculous. Particularly since black mambas snakes can hide out in that grass. And those black mambas, while they're not particularly aggressive, if you step on one, they're going to think you're trying to kill it, and they'll bite, and those things are highly poisonous. So that's what happened. So look at Nelson Mandela Bay in context before one goes out to condemn the Democratic Alliance in that situation. Now, let me tell you what's going on in the United States right now. The Gabby Petito case, it has occupied the United States. It might be coming to an end very shortly. I don't know if you guys been following it or not, but outside of the Florida Nature Reserve that Brian Laundrie's parents led the authorities to, they found a notebook that belonged to Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito's fiance, who is a person of interest and suspected to be the killer. But what they can't hold him right now on suspicion of murder, but they can hold him on bank fraud, because when he came back to Florida without Gabby Petito, his fiance, he used her debit card on the road, and he used her debit card that amounted to more than $1,000 US. So he's wanted on bank fraud charges. Well, they found a notebook belonging to Gabby Petito. The authorities did. Brian Laundrie's parents led the authorities to this area. But they also found human remains where Brian Laundrie's notebook is. And Brian Laundrie's family attorney has not confirmed it. Neither has the state of Florida's crime lab. But the Laundrie family's attorney says that the human remains that were found near Brian Laundrie's notebook are more than likely to be Brian Laundrie. So more than likely what happened was he knew he killed Gabby Petito, and he didn't want to face life imprisonment, and he probably committed suicide. We don't know. I mean, there's still evidence that's being we still don't even know if those human remains are his. So that's a theory that I have. I'm not saying it's correct. I'm saying that's what I think happened, but that's what we think is going on. The reason, it's not because that Gabby Petito was white or blonde hair or blue-eyed why this case made so much news. It was because her and her fiance, Brian Laundrie, when they traveled the entire United States via road trip, Rebellious Ruth says, hey, Brett. Hey, Ruth, how are you? When they traveled the whole continental U.S. via road trip, what they did was they filmed it, and they did a lot of YouTube blogs, and they did a lot of internet blogs, and right now it's the in-style thing or the cool thing amongst young people to be a YouTuber, and people like to film their adventures and put it on YouTube or film their travels. Well, when Gabby Petito was found, the body was found in Wyoming, and okay, Cameron Zede says, have a good rest of the stream, Brett. See you in the next stream. Stay safe and God bless. Cameron, you stay safe as well. Take care, bro. Hope you have a blessed week. Well, they found Gabby Petito's body in Wyoming about a week ago, and they had determined that she died by manual strangulation. Now, we don't know who choked her. We think it's Brian Laundrie because there were witnesses that witnessed Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito getting in fistfights. There were witnesses that said he talked down to her and talked harsh to her in public really, really badly. And a lot of Gabby Petito's friends did not like Brian Laundrie. They said she was in a toxic relationship. That's what we do know. And so more than likely, the human remains found next to Brian Laundrie's notebook are Brian Laundrie's, according to the Laundrie family attorney. And that's what he told the press. But we don't know any more than that. So, Rebecca says, always so tragic. You'll love the drama. If a woman is being treated like crap, she needs to just get away. I agree. And her friends had warned Gabby Petito to get away from him, to get away from him, to get away from him. And she refused to do it. And they didn't want her to take the road trip with Brian Laundrie. They had a bad feeling about it. A lot of them did. And they, it was just... they were worried that something might happen to Gabby, and something did. Now, we still don't know if Brian Laundrie was the murderer. We still don't know if he killed himself. We still don't even know if those remains are his. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and slander something until things become official. But that's what a lot of people are suspecting. And that is what's going on. And yeah, it's read like a mystery novel here in the United States. And that's pretty much what the United States has been glued on. And because it made it for a good internet drama. I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. justice needs to be served in this case, whoever the killer or the culprit was, and it's been determined she was strangled. She was murdered by somebody, according to the Wyoming coroners that performed the autopsy. All right. Okay, Rebecca says, shame, so tragic. Thanks, Brett. Going to hit the A. Take care. I agree. Okay, well, Ruth, thank you very much. Thanks for joining the stream. So, what else I wanted to talk to you about? I've been reading this book called Make Africa Work, and it's by moderates and conservatives that are trying to make the situation in Africa work better, not just South Africa, but all of Africa. But what South Africa has got to do in this municipal election to make South Africa work is they got to vote out the ANC, number one. But then number two, they don't need to be voting for the EFF. Chris Wyatt did a video of EFF posters in Cape Town. And the Cape Town government sends memorandums to all the political parties before the election, before the political parties go to Cape Town and campaign and put up posters and things like that. And Chris White said it's normal. During this pandemic, if the politicians didn't want to come into contact with their constituents, particularly, I'm going to say particularly if they've been vaccinated, because particularly if you're vaccinated, you can get the Delta variant and not know that you have it. And while it's not going to affect you and be serious, you could be a carrier. And it's hard for a politician to talk with a mask on and to have people hear them. So I can see the posters being a campaigning without coming in contact with the voters or the constituents. I get that. But the EFF, it's not a problem that the EFF put up the posters. Is that they violated the Cape Town laws. The laws in Cape Town stated you could only put the posters in certain areas, and it applied to all political parties. The ANC followed the law. The DA followed the law. The Freedom Front Plus followed the law. The ACDP followed the law. All political parties followed the law in this instance, except the EFF. The EFF put posters that were entirely too big, that were way out of Cape Town's regulations, and they get arrested for it, rightfully so. But then basically all the judge gives them is a slap on the wrist. This just shows that the EFF can get away with pretty much anything, and the media and the law enforcement and the courts do nothing about it. They can make death threats on people. They can violate poster regulations, and it's just crazy. I recommend that you check out Chris White's video on this if you guys have not seen the video. But yeah, that's what's going on in with the EFF in Cape Town. And before they were in Cape Town, they went to campaign in the Northern Cape as well. And we shall see. I mean, I don't think the EFF is going to make any ground in the municipalities. They didn't really gain anything these last national elections. I think the EFF, when this one South African political analyst came on SABC and talked about the battle for Johannesburg, but talked about all of South Africa a little bit. The EFF, a lot of people, even though they're disillusioned with the ANC, some people are not trusting the EFF because of the VBS bank scandal. And they're not trusting them because of the VBS bank scandal. They really don't think that the EFF is really the party for poor people as much as it is the party to brainwash people. And that the EFF really doesn't have a comprehensive economic plan either to create jobs or to try to lift South Africa out of poverty or out of the junk status on currency. The EFF just does not have a plan to bring any sort of investment in South Africa. Well, that's what's going on. All right. Okay, one thing I did want to bring up on is that I haven't discussed yet is, has anybody heard about the 4 students in Limpopo that had been kidnapped? There were 4 Indian South African students that were on their way to school. A driver who was employed by the family, I believe, took them to school. Now, the driver was not kidnapped, but he was thrown to the ground by the kidnappers at gunpoint. And the 4 students had been kidnapped. It's more than likely looking like they're going to be held for ransom. And it's looking like ransom is the main issue. And there is a major police manhunt going on right now for these students and for the hostage takers. And it is just a sad situation. So please keep these 4 students in your prayers. They all were in their mid to early teens. And it is just a scary situation for them for them to be in. I mean, again, it's just a very, very scary situation for these students to be in right now. So please keep the students in your thoughts and prayers. All right. Okay. Okay. The main thing, like I said, that I wanted to talk about was the situation in Eswatini, and then it's going to spill over to South Africa. Like it or not, what's going on in Eswatini is going to spill over to South Africa. And I firmly believe Mswati III needs to step down. He's not been a good king. He's not been a democratic leader, obviously, and he doesn't, the way he's living lavishly, but his people are suffering, many of them less than $1.25 a day. It's time for him to step down. And yeah, I mean, it's just his time. It's time for him to step down, and you got to have a new leader. They got to have a democratic government, and democracy needs to come to Eswatini and have a more comprehensive economic plan for the people of Eswatini. Okay. Okay, last thing that I'm going to discuss on this stream, and then I'm going to end the stream, is David Ames, the British member of parliament that was stabbed by Ali Harbi Ali. He's the son of a Somali government official, but it looked like he's been separated from his family. It doesn't look like his family adapts his radical Islamic extremism like he does, but Ali Harbi Ali did stab Sir David Ames, and he stabbed and killed him. And he's a British citizen of Somali descent, and he was born and raised in Somalia. And there is a call for statues to be built in David Ames' honor. David Ames was a very pro-Israel member of parliament, and he campaigned to get the London area. It's just like a designated area for England. Sorry, the South Bend to be a city, and they're going to make South Bend a city in the UK in honor of Sir David Ames. So I really appreciate the Boris Johnson government doing that. That was one of his biggest campaign issues and biggest issues as a member of parliament, David Ames, was to make South Bend an official city in the United Kingdom. And David Ames was a friend of Israel, and he was one of the most pro-Israeli politicians, not just in the UK, but in the world. And Ali Harbi Ali, who stabbed and killed Sir David Ames, said that the pro-Israeli views, as well as Ali Harbi Ali's devotion to radical Islam, was a reason that he stabbed and killed Sir David Ames, member of parliament from the UK. And just a sad situation, and prayers for the family. David Ames was a very selfless member of parliament who gave his dedication to the UK. So he will be surely missed. So, yeah, David Ames will be surely missed. Just a sad situation, but glad that they caught the perpetrator, and glad that the perpetrator will be brought to justice. I'm not sure if the UK has the death penalty. I don't think they do. If they do, it's very, very rare. But the killer needs to get life imprisonment for doing what he did. I mean, that's for sure. The killer needs to get life imprisonment for doing what he did. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you guys for tuning in. This was a 23-minute live stream. Thanks for the 5 likes, by the way. Whoever this one, the one person is that's still watching, if you want to type something in there, feel free to. I can hang around a little bit longer to discuss further topics. But yeah. That's pretty much what I was going to cover. The situation in Eswatini, which I did. I talked about that. I talked about the Gabby Petito case. I talked about the South African general elections, or the municipal elections that are coming up on November the 1st. And please, if you guys have not, please go vote. Okay, the only way to change the situation is to vote democratically and vote against the ANC, not vote for the EFF. If you vote for the EFF, you vote for a party that doesn't have any economic plans to bring investment into South Africa. No economic plans to lift South Africa out of poverty. No economic plans to lift the South African rand out of junk status. That is also a party that's been implicated in the VBS bank scandal. When they criticize the ANC for being corrupt, they're being corrupt themselves. When there are DA officials that are corrupt, they weed out corruption within their own party. It gets done. The EFF does not do things like that. We saw that in the VBS bank scandal. So it's been about 25 minutes. I'm going to let you guys go. Hope everybody's doing well. Take care. God bless them.